Okay, good morning guys. Obviously welcome to Student Parliament. Thank you all for coming. I would like to introduce Tony.
Hi, hello, I'm Tony Pearce and I'm the Vice President for Further Education for the National Union of Students. But actually the most important stuff that we do is about students' rights, and our kind of mission statement is NUS exists to extend, promote and defend the rights of students. And NUS does that by kind of running campaigns, but also by kind of organising to give students a voice in their student unions, but also nationally. About 4 years ago, when I was a class rep at my college, and I was only a class rep really because my lecturer in my tutor, my tutor group at college said, "Who wants to be a class rep?" And no one put their hand up, and she went, "Well, you do it." And I was like, I'm not really sure, you know, kind of what geeks do, not really interested. But then, you know, I just started college and I thought, you know, well, you know, why not? And then I sort of got there and I realised that actually there were some really big problems at my college. I started to realise that one of the big problems at my college was that some people were having to make a decision between whether they could afford to pay for their lunch or whether they could afford to pay for the bus on the way home. So there were some people either choosing between going hungry or choosing to walk. I suppose one of the other things that kind of I thought was not really fair actually was that there wasn't kind of disabled access to lots of parts of the college. So although there was disabled access to all of the classrooms, there wasn't disabled access to like the sports facilities or to the canteen. And so if you were in a wheelchair at my college at the time when I first started, kind of were sort of, you know, you were a bit screwed actually. You know, you couldn't go in, you couldn't kind of spend time with your friends, but you could go to your lessons, and so the college thought that was okay. And I started to kind of get a bit angry about it. You know, well, maybe if I get involved in the student union a bit more, or maybe if I kind of do some stuff, maybe if I go and speak to some people and argue with them and tell them why this is wrong, they must be able to see that this is wrong, they must do something about it. And they did. And I never thought when I kind of was the only person who kind of was the person who picked to be a class rep, I never thought that I'd be in a position where I'd be kind of going to like management meetings and governors meetings and sitting there and saying, "Oh, well, you should probably do this because if you don't, then it's just sort of, it's not really fair, is it? And how are you going to get away with it?" And then somebody said, "Why don't you run to be the president of the student union?" And we were really lucky, like you are, to have a sabbatical president at our student union, a full-time job, and they're paid to represent students and kind of make change for students at their college or their university. In my first kind of year, I went on an NUS training event, and some kind of NUS type, a bit like me, exactly like me, my predecessor, came into my college, and I sat at the back of the room when I was a class rep and thought, who's this person telling me that I can change the world? Like, I can't change the world. I can barely stand up in front of class reps at my own college without kind of shaking and thinking that, oh God, I'm not cool enough to be doing this, which is sort of still what I think right now. And it's not until kind of now that I realise that actually those people who kind of do this job, people who are elected officers in your student union, but also in NUS, have come from exactly where you are. A few years ago I was exactly kind of where you are, sitting thinking, you are talking absolute rubbish. When am I going to get my free lunch? There's no such thing. And then I never thought I'd be in a position where I would be running for a national student officer position, but on my 21st birthday actually, I was standing in front of about 1,500 student officers from universities and colleges throughout the UK, telling them why they should vote for me to be the Vice President for Further Education for NUS. And being really political and saying political things that I never even realised I was political. I couldn't have told you who like the Labour Party were. I couldn't have told you who the Prime Minister. Well, I probably could have told you who the Prime Minister was, but like, you know, I would never have done what I did last week and stayed up all night to watch the US presidential election. Like, I wasn't that kind of person at the time, but I have become that kind of person. Because I realised that there aren't just things in my college that I want to change and that I can change, but there are things throughout the country and throughout the world actually that I don't think are fair and that I think should be changed. And I also don't think that you can change anything by sort of sitting at the back of the room saying, well, I think you're an idiot. What you have to do is kind of get up and say that to somebody and, you know, actually tell them why and tell them why it's not fair. and convince them that they need to change. But it's been great to see you, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you do amazing things.
Thanks to Tony. I think Tony's very inspiring, and it just goes to show that you don't have to think you're just somebody to get somewhere.
Got big ears for good listening skills, big lips for good communication skills, and also to be polite and respectful. He's got really big hands because he's going to be hands-on.
We've got a clock above his head because he needs good timekeeping skills. The massive question mark is for problem solving.
So his expertise is Earth. It means that he knows about other countries and other cultures, because there are very many students from other countries nowadays.
So we've got things like he's bubbly, he's got a good understanding of welfare,
non-judgmental, diplomatic, charismatic, caring, very caring.
Got a paintbrush because he's creative.
He's got a big mouth because he can talk and speak up for people.
Okay, right, she's got a helmet to protect her from being put down by people that don't agree with her and that don't want her to fight for change. She's got ears to listen, as everybody else has. She's got a smile to be friendly and approachable.
So I'm going to start off with the first debate. I'm Chris. Well, I completely agree with that. That does not give me the right to stop people from smoking, you know, because that would be too authoritarian of me. At the end of the day, it's their choice. As long as it's not affecting me, it doesn't matter to me. So as long as it's legal, there should be space for them to smoke. Otherwise, as you very rightly said, people would smoke in other places. They'd still do it. They'd just do it in a place that we don't want them to.
I think no, because if we stop smokers, then they'll just stand at the gate and smoke around the gate, and it will look bad in front of visitors. So it will form a bad image of the college. And also, I think a good suggestion is a smoking site at the front of some of the colleges. I think they should be moved to the back so that it's not visible to visitors, and obviously smokers can just go to the back.
I'm Calvin. I would also say no. I'm a non-smoker, but if there were to be, I've been to a college before that didn't have, it was a smoking college, and then we moved to a new site and it became completely non-smoking, and then as a non-smoker everyone would hang out at the front or near to the entrance, and then or by the gate, and then all the non-smokers would have to walk through that cloud of smoke, which we didn't like.
Count to five, I want to count to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
If you think that education should be free to all, it's a nice premise and all, but it's really small-minded. If everyone has more education, we're going to expect a higher wage, and it's going to cost more on the government, and in the end it will just result in this country becoming indebted again. And if everyone has education, they're not going to value it. Everyone's going around, oh, I've got a degree, that's nice, so does everyone else. No one's going to care. So if you make education free, it becomes valueless completely.
My name's Sophia, and I think it should be free because I wanted to study in Leamington College, but my bursary got turned down because my dad's a single parent and he earned 17,000 and the bursary was 16,000, and my dad couldn't actually afford to get me over to the college there and back every day, which was like a bummer for me because then I had to go to my second choice, which I don't really enjoy as much because I would have much preferred to choose my first choice, but because of money I wasn't able to do so.
Has the right to learn, and making people pay for it isn't right.
Andy from Malvern. One thing I found, this is actually something I'll hold my hand up and say I've actually done this myself. I did a level 3 in animal management and then I progressed on to do a degree. And one thing I found is I actually worked harder once I was paying for my education. I found that once I thought, yes, I'm paying £3 a year to be here, I'm actually going to do my best and I'm going to work my socks off this. And I have heard many people actually say the same, so I think personally I've seen it work in practice.
No, you shouldn't be able to do that. But at the same time, this isn't fair the way it's set out at the moment. There are a lot of people that can't get into, education because there's no funding available, there's no support available, you've got to pay. People who want a change in career when they get older, because obviously, as was mentioned before, you don't have enough time to decide when you're young. You don't know what you want to do when you're 16.
I don't know about other colleges, but people at Morton, I think we're generally quite lucky with what we've got.
we've got a farrier unit, we've got an equine unit, we've got a farm, we've got animals, we've got everything. And even though we have some huts that aren't the greatest classrooms, we do have some heaters as
I'm
well.
Malcolm Kershaw. Basically, at the end of the day, you're paying to use the facilities that are at the college, and if they're not up to standard, then they should be either refurbished or actually get those facilities in.
About, you can hear what the teacher's writing on the whiteboard. You know what I mean? It was ridiculous. How are you supposed to concentrate and learn in that environment?
Hi guys. I've heard a lot of people talk about, you know, like their rooms being inappropriate or the spaces set aside in the library being inappropriate, you know, and little niggles they've got. But I think the niggle I've got is that obviously doing an IT course, quite a high level one as well, we're learning to use computers and use software and different techniques with the software on antiquated and old systems which have been out of date for about 6-7 years now.
So intellectual and have no social skills, and as much as we have a great work experience when we go out and we get help with our CV and stuff, people need help with how to dress for an interview. People turn up in jeans. What? Why would you turn up in jeans to an interview? People need to be able to get confidence to be able to talk in an interview. People need to know what employers want. You know, employers want intelligent people who are presentable and people who are going to work hard, and people don't know that from what we are being taught. So,
personally, I actually haven't heard of an education that doesn't prepare you for employment, because that is basically what an education is for. But obviously in the society, and obviously in the future, people will need to work to sustain this planet. And as they said over there, 7 billion people live on this planet, and it's going to keep increasing. We need to keep working, and so obviously the education is most important, and so it should help us provide us to become educated, become underemployment. Obviously, she said it's it's very difficult for us to do so, but again, it's a two-way street. People, if they don't make the effort, they're not going to get the job. So it's down to the person themselves to put the effort in, and then the college to give them that extra kick.
Okay, right. So we're going to go to vote. Should we vote?
Like, no, it should be a student, and then it should be. But yeah, they should.
Basically, I just wanted to finish today by saying thank you to you all for coming. Obviously, it's the first time we've had a parliament, and well, I don't know about you guys, but I think it's gone really well. And anyone that wants to, let me know their views, please feel free to email me or just catch me. I'll be around the campus, obviously. And I know that a lot of people put a lot of hard work into putting this day on for you, and I'd just like to thank them as well. So I know Catherine and Zoe and we do have a winner, I'm happy to announce. And I shall read the tweet. It says, SU Parliament, 6 centres, 5 unions, all work as one amazing. We can actually make a change and actually affect how things run, bring on the debate. Actually just sums up what today's about, I think. So thank you very much. So